So let's start with a couple of quality of life improvements that are available in manage mode. The first one is if you look up here, you will notice that I now am able to create tabs or open different folders in different tabs. So for example, if I click, let's say, Torres del Paine folder right here with my middle click on my mouse, and I go for it again, you will see now that I have tabs available in manage mode. So this is very intuitive, similar to most web browsers. And the cool thing about this is that you can have multiple folders open. So let's say if you want to move certain photos from one folder to the other, it's a lot easier to just have them right there in the same window. Another cool thing about ACDSee tabs is that you can use them with catalog. So for example, if I wanted to go to my AI keywords and go, let's say, open all my bird photos. So now I have selected all my bird photos. And if I go back to my previous tab, if I hover over my catalog tab, you will see that the information displayed tells me the keyword that I am searching in a particular tab. So this also works for categories. It also works for labels. So another cool thing is that when I open different tabs and I have, let's say, a different file structure here on a folder structure here on my left, that folder structure remains intact, corresponding to the tab that I was exploring. Okay, so let's open the tabs that are going to be useful for us during this workshop. Another cool thing about 2025 in manage mode is the new activity manager. So on your right side, you would usually only have your properties pane, your advanced search, but now you also have the activity manager. And basically the activity manager combines a bunch of different background operations so that you can view their progress and they're all in a single location. So in 2024, you would see how ACDSee was scanning your images either for face detection or AI keywords at the bottom, but now it's all combined in the activity manager. As you can see, I have AI keywords and AI face detection disabled, but if I enable them, you will see that those idle activities can be resumed and stopped whenever you want to. So that's a lot of, it's a quality of life improvement that I'm sure will make it easier for people that are opening ACDSee for the first time and have hundreds of photos. You don't always want ACDSee to be scanning your pictures in the background while you're editing, especially if your computer isn't particularly powerful. You can easily pause the activities on the activity manager. The queued activities will show your imports, and those imports, once completed, will show up in your history. Okay, so that's the activity manager and ACDSee tabs. Something else really nice about 2025 is that all of your customized keyboard shortcuts and external editors will be automatically imported from 2024 to 2025. So before that used to be a more, would take more time to accomplish, and now it's just completely automatic. Okay. So let's get into it. let's open this raw image in develop mode and see what's new. And one of the things that was awesome about 2024 was the ability to do object selection in edit mode. But obviously, why not have it in develop mode? And so in 2025, you will see that the masking group is completely redesigned, a bit easier to follow. And this was the photo of the elephant I was talking about. So again, if I do select subject, the elephant is selected, but also the person right in front. So it makes it a bit harder to, I can obviously, with the right click of my mouse, deselect, right? Because on every selection, I can use my brush tool to deselect, but it'll take me time and it's not going to be a perfect selection. So let's clear that mask out. And now let's select the objects button right here. Now, I am going to outline my elephant first completely, and probably the same thing will happen. But the cool thing about object selection is I can add to the selection or remove from the selection as much as I want. So you will see the object selection controls here on the left. On my right side, I have the subtract from the current mask. So if I click on that, and now I draw over the person, you will see that the person is deselected. So now I can, for example, increase the exposure, saturation, and clarity of only my elephant. And if I go down below and click Show Original, you will see that that is a big difference. Let's say that the mask is not entirely perfect. All you have to do is right here, you will see a collection of your masks. If you right click and click Convert to Brush Mask, now you can brush over the areas that you want to sort of confirm that might have not been perfectly selected before. Okay. Let's take a look at another example. And the great thing about this, obviously, develop mode being a non-destructive environment, you can easily reset to defaults. And if you don't save, or if you do save your file, it will always be saved on a separate file. So your original files will never be disturbed. Let's try to select this little back here. Many times with the object selection tool in the past, you would see that sometimes the edges are not fully selected. And I'm not sure if Zoom is going to be able, or the resolution of the streaming will be able to show you that there's a slight edge that is not being captured. A new addition to all of the masks in develop mode is the ability to refine your mask. And so now you can shift your edges either towards inside or outwards to make sure that your object is fully selected. And to make things a bit smoother, you can add some feathering to those edges. That way, you can ensure you will have a more organic transition between your edits. So I shifted the edge a 13 value, and I added some feathering as well. So now, if I increase exposure slightly, some saturation very slightly, and clarity, my basket will pop a lot more. I can, of course, if you're familiar with develop mode and how masks work, you can duplicate this mask and then invert it with the option buttons that you have here in the bottom. So now that I have my mask inverted, maybe I can lower the exposure of whatever isn't my subject. And if I look at my original photo, now I can see that my basket is a lot more prominent than before. And one last example of the AI object selection tool is, of course, the ability to select multiple objects in a photo. Let's try this again. Okay. So I'm going to select this big rock here. And I'm going to add to that selection. I'm going to add the little boat here as well. I'm going to select this mast here on top. And now I'm going to invert this mask. Now you'll see that everything but my selections have been selected, and I can reduce the exposure. And now I have a much more dynamic photo. What was a super flat overexposed, now I have some clear points of focus. So that's another way you can use object selection. So what else do we have in the new masking mode? Now we have available different kinds of range masking, specifically luminance masking and color masking. In luminance masking, I can select the luminance range that I want to affect in my photo. So, for example, this beautiful photo, you can see this, I don't want to affect the sky at all. And if I started to, let's say, increase the shadows, I would inevitably start affecting the sky. But because everything that is not the sky is slightly darker, I can select that thanks to the luminance range controls. So I have 4 tabs here, as you can see. The top pickers would be the tonal selection per se. So if I move both of my pickers from the top to the left, I'm only starting to select the blacks and the shadows. And the pickers on the bottom would create a feathering transition so that whatever if you, for example, bring it right there and it's a 90-degree angle between those lines, you will see that the selection is pretty much, very strict. There's no feathering involved, which can be a good thing. But in this case, I want to create a little bit of feathering. At the same time, I don't want to fully select all my blacks, so I'll bring my black picker a little bit to the right, and again create some feathering towards the left. Now I can see that my mask is only selecting the ground, but only parts of the ground, only the areas that correspond to this tonal range. Now I can easily increase the exposure slightly of only those areas, the saturation, and maybe a little bit of clarity. And if I compare that, you will see that my previous photo lacks a little bit of details, and my new photo, you can see a lot more. The details become a lot more prominent on the trees, on the ground. So the luminance range tool is great when you're trying to make edits that are not, super crazy edits, but do some detail work that definitely pays off. I can do the same thing with the sky, for example. And if you can see, if you bring your mouse over to the image, you will see the eyedropper. And then if you look to the left, right here, you will see that this little vertical dotted line will mark exactly where that tone is located so that it's easier for you to adjust the pickers. So because I only want to select my cloudy sky, but not all of the sky, not the whites, but the near whites and a lot of the midtones. If you can see, there's a lot of the ocean that's being picked. I don't want to pick the ocean at all. So I'm just going to keep moving this to the right. And now you can see that my selection only corresponds to the sky. Again, you can shift your edges to the right because I can see that right here on the roof, there's some parts that have not been selected. So I'm just going to do a 1 shift, maybe a 2. And now I'll hide my mask and I'll bring the exposure down. And now I can see so much more detail on that cloud. Bring the exposure down, bring the temperature to the left so that it's cooler. I'll add some feathering to my edges just so that those mountains in the background look more natural. And now I went from having a pretty, boring sky with no depth to a really nice cloudy sky. Let's take a look at the last new option in 2025, which is color range. So let's say I open this photo right here. And by the way, all of these photos are raw images. And let's say I am looking at this photo and I'm like, well, I certainly want those greens to be stronger, to be brighter, and to have more saturation. Then the easiest way to do that would be to create a mask, a color range mask. So I'll click the button, and with my mouse, I will click on any of the green areas. You can see that everything that's in red is what I've selected. And you will notice that whenever you click on a different part of your photo, your color wheel will change to show the colors that you're selecting. So let's go back to selecting my greens right there. And you'll see that I am selecting greens, but also a little bit of yellow. So you can obviously modify your selection. And how do you do that? So this little triangle you see here is the outer part of the triangle is for the more saturated tones or the more saturated colors on that spectrum. And as you go towards the center, then it's less saturation until you reach almost like a gray right here in the middle. So as you can see, I'm selecting all of my greens on my trees, but I'm also selecting a little bit of the water. And I kind of don't want to select the water. So if I bring my mouse right here and drag the top of my triangle to the bottom, and then start dragging it back up, you will see that now I don't have any of my water selected. So I'm going to increase that a little bit more just to get a bit more greenery. I can add some feathering again to this selection to make it a little bit more natural. Just a little bit. And now I will hide my mask and add some exposure and saturation. So this is how our image looked before and how it looks after. So the greens are a lot brighter. It's a more lively image overall. Let's reset to defaults. And maybe we'll try it on another photo as well. So let's say you're taking photos of a certain, clothing that you want to enhance, then you can easily do that again with color range mask. So I'm going to click on her jacket. And as you can see, there's a lot selected that I don't need. Same as we did before, the first thing I would recommend to do is to drag the center towards the photo, towards the outer edge. And now you can see that my wall is not selected, and I basically am only selecting the jacket here. And now you can hide your mask. And for example, increase the saturation of the jacket, maybe the brightness, and a little contrast. And so now I went from having, it's almost a gray, it's like a purple gray, to having a really strong color only in the jacket of my subject. That's before, and this is after. So that's the new masking group in develop mode, which will definitely improve your photo editing journey, especially if you do a lot of raw editing, non-destructive editing. Okay, so let's move on to probably one of the most exciting new features in ACDSee, my personal favorite, and honestly, I think a game changer when it comes to treatment of photographs. And we're talking about AI super resolution. So this new tool operates, and I guess I should have said this in the beginning, but ACDSee Photo Studio 2025, either in home, in professional, or ultimate, it runs, all of the AI processes are running on your GPU. So if you have a computer with a graphics processing unit card, then all of the AI operations like AI select subject, object, super resolution, they're all going to run, instead of running on your CPU, they're going to run on your GPU. So this is a huge improvement in performance, up to 2 times the speed of what you would see before, only when some of this was running on your CPU. If your computer does not have a GPU, you can still use super resolution. You can still use all of the AI operations. They're just going to be a little slower. Okay, so let's check out AI super resolution. And we're going to begin. And so AI super resolution can be found on the menu here above. You will see AI resolution right there. Also, if you right click on any photo and you go to AI features, you will see AI super resolution. And it's also available in view mode by right clicking AI features, AI super resolution, also in the menu above. So I don't know about you guys, but it's very common that between our friends, between our families, we start sharing photos on social media. It could be like WhatsApp. Messenger or whatever, and sometimes, I mean, all the time, those images get heavily compressed, and a lot of the times, the original image gets lost, and you end up with a really small, not great photo. For example, this photo of a sunset um, is only 640 pixels by 480, and it's honestly in really bad quality. Hopefully soon we'll be able, through our streaming, show the power of AI super resolution. So let's go ahead and select this photo, go to AI features and click on AI super resolution. Please let me know if you can see the AI super resolution window. Okay. When you open a photo in super resolution, it will automatically create a preview of that photo and expand it by 200%. So as soon as I opened it, you can see how fast it was. And to compare, so this is my new image, and this is how it looked before. So look at all the artifacts, all of the blurriness, looked at all of these like straight lines that are cutting. My image is heavily pixelated. And in those couple of seconds, ACDSee was able to transform this image into this image. Colors are clear, edges are sharper, colors are more vibrant. Before, after. Now, in AI super resolution, sometimes you will see that the AI strength, you will want it to be at 100%, but sometimes 70% will create a better result. In this case, 100% definitely works better. We can increase the percentage. The percentage of increase that we want to apply is unlimited. But so I could, if I wanted, I could go 5,000, okay, which is extreme. And ACDSee only works with photos that have up to a 16,000 pixel limit. But if you want to push it, go ahead. So I've just increased my resolution 5,000%. And I went to a horrible photo to a really nice sunset photo. Okay. Let's take a look at another example. Maybe we'll open this one. So here we have this cool photo of Muhammad Ali. And as I was explaining to you before, by default, it'll start by applying a 200% resize on my photo. So let's take a look. Let's expand it to 400%. And let's bring it to the original size. This is how my image looked before. And you can start to see, you know, some pixelation, a lot of grain. There's not a lot of sharpness. And then when I apply resolution, you can see everything is cleaned up. And not only cleaned up, but I've expanded the size of my image 400%, which allows me to, if I wanted to, print this image and have so much better results. Okay. So let's zoom in a little bit into Muhammad's face. Okay. This is how it looked before. And that's how it looks after. Before, after. So if you have a lot of old photos that are not in super good resolution and that you want to perfect, then this is an incredible tool to do that. Because not only it increases the size of your photo, but it's an intelligent upscale. So this means that it reduces noise, it reduces blurriness, eliminates artifacts, and maintains details. It improves contrast, it improves sharpness, and it results in a clear, detailed upscale image. Okay, so I've increased this photo by 400%. We're just going to go ahead and confirm the enhancement by clicking enhance right here at the bottom. And we'll let ACDSee do its thing. Now, let's compare those two photos side by side. I'll select my two photos and go to compare images. I want to make sure we're all looking at the comparison. And now, there you have it. I mean, obviously, there's a big difference, but we're not really seeing that the image on our right is 4 times as big as the image on my left. And so just so that we are clear on what that means, my original photo was only 600, and you can see here at the bottom of my screen, 600 by 407 pixels. And I transformed that photo to a photo that is 2400 pixels by 1600 pixels. So AI Super Resolution will not only work incredibly well with pixelated photos or old photos that you want to restore, it will work really, really well with some other graphics images. So for example, this classic photo of Batman and Robin, I'm sure you've seen the meme sometimes on the internet. That's this. Oh, let's see. I just want to make sure we're sharing. So this is how the original photo looks. And this is one of those cases where like this photo gets shared so much, it's so hard to find the original, the one that has the full quality applied to it. But if I only do just a simple 200 enhancement on this photo, check that out. Basically, it's completely fixed. Not only is completely fixed, it's increased in size. And I can increase the size to 400. I can increase the size to 800%. I probably don't want to do more than 800%. And again, if I wanted to, I could decrease the strength of the AI, but I'm just going to leave it at 100 because it's amazing. So if I zoom in to Batman's face, that's how it looks after. Let's zoom in even more. This is how it looks after applying AI super resolution, and this is how it looked before. It's just completely, it went from an unusable photo to a super high quality photo. Again, we're going to go to enhance and enhance that JPEG. And we went from having a, let's take a look here at the bottom of our screen, a 400 by 387 pixel image to a 3200 by 3000 photo. Yes, so Tom, this will work with newspaper images. Um, just for the sake of it, because this is so exciting, let's take a look at another option. And after we do this, I'm going to tell you what this is not even the most exciting thing about, like the most exciting thing about this, I'll tell you right away. So let's take a look at this one. Let's only increase it 200 just to see. So that's the original version. By the way, all of these photos are copyright free or in the public domain. Again, we have barely usable, probably not even a usable photo. It's extremely pixelated. But after applying AI resolution, Um, there we go. I mean, the image speaks for itself. All the details have been brought back. The colors look amazing. Before, after. So if you want to look at how it was before, how it was after, there's always, and this is available in edit mode, it's available in develop mode, the show original button. You also have options in AI Super Resolution. So you can choose your output file format if you want to export in a JPEG, but you can also export in a TIFF, a PNG, um, you know, any format that's available right here. You can choose a new output location and other file overwrite options right there. If you are going ahead and printing, yeah, so this works with all images that are supported in ACDSee, all of them. So if you want to print, you can also select a print size and ACDSee will adjust your photo to the print size that you want. Um, Before we take a look at more examples, because I could honestly spend all day doing this since it's so satisfying, is the fact that you can batch hundreds of photos to be enhanced. So let's say you have a folder with 100 photos that don't look so well that you'd like to enhance, then you'll just select all of those photos, right click, and go to batch, AI Super Resolution, and you can either expand them by 2x, 3x, or 4x. I'm not going to do that right now so that we can keep playing, but this is an incredible way to grab all of those photos that you wish you could see better and just with a couple of clicks, make them look incredibly better. How about this photo of Marlon Brando? Let's take a look. Okay, so my original photo, a lot of grain, a lot of information that I don't need. And I went from having, so if I zoom in even a little bit on Marlon Brando, so you can see the change. Yeah, so this is going to work amazing on, you know, wildlife photos. If you have old photos that you would like to see improved. I mean, check this out. So this photo I'm enhancing by 800% and I'm zoomed in at 100%. So if this is my old photo zoomed in, and now this is my new photo enhanced 8 times its size. I can probably bring it back to 200 since the size of the original photo was pretty good to begin with. So yeah, let's zoom in a little bit so you can see the difference between the size, how it looked before, and how it looks after. Antoine wants to see the bird. Let's see the bird. AI Super Resolution. So there we go. This is how the image looked before, and this is how the image looks after. Notice the details in the beak. So right now we see, different blurred colors, strange pixels. and now it's all gone. It even respects a little bit of the original grain of the image, which can be super um, really nice. Probably you won't be able to notice a big difference when I'm zoomed out here 100%, but take a look. And obviously, after enhancing all of these images, I can keep working on them. I can, so one thing that I realize is that AI super resolution, what it'll do, let's go back to this photo of Muhammad Ali and let's increase it only by 400. The original photo might have had some grain that is particularly nice to have. And I could either lower the strength of my AI, which will bring back some of that grain. But the beauty is that I can apply AI super resolution to its maximum, click enhance, change the output file format to a better format like a TIFF. So it's uncompressed and I don't lose any detail. And I go enhance, I wait a little bit, and then I open this photo in develop mode. Let's reshare develop mode. And I can go, for example, to my effects and add a little bit of grain. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this through streaming, but I've added a little bit of that grain that was maybe lost during my upscale. Isn't that amazing? Okay, so the original photo of Muhammad Ali was 600 by 407, and the new photo of Muhammad Ali is 2400 by 1600. All right, so I mean, if there wasn't a good enough reason to upgrade to 2025, I honestly like this is just absolute like there's no other photo editor can upscale, can batch upscale an image more than 2 times. You're still seeing Muhammad. Okay, good to know. No other photo editor by any other company can upscale an image, can batch upscale an image, so hundreds of photos by more than 2 times. And ACDSee can do it up to 8 times by going to batch, AI super resolution, 2x, 3x, 4x. Okay? So an incredible advantage that you will only have in 2025. And the beauty is that this is available in home, is available in professional, and it's available in ultimate. And yes, the processing is local, meaning none of this information gets shared anywhere else. It only stays in your machine, which is something that also differentiates us from the competition. So before we showcase probably just there's still more features because we're running out of time. My recommendation is to go to the link I just shared so that you can check out a bunch of other new features that are available. For example, and this is something that I know a lot of users have requested in edit mode. So let's open this photo in edit mode. It'll be available really soon. I can't exactly tell you when, but very soon. Okay, so another huge improvement for those of you who use edit mode, and this is something that people have been asking for, and that we finally complied, and because it made sense to have it, is that for any tool that behaves like a brush, so it could be my brush tool, it could be my brush selection tool, um, you can straighten your lines to be perfect, either horizontally, diagonally, vertically. So if I want it, so before, if I want to do like a selection of this here, you can see that those lines are not perfect. So if I select the beginning here and then go down and click on Shift and click again, ACDSee will create a perfect line that connects those 2 points. And it can be diagonal, it can be horizontal. And in this way, your selections, or if you want to draw lines, if you want to do anything, it'll be a lot easier to get that perfect angle. So now that I have that selected, I could easily apply an exposure layer and increase the exposure a little bit there to bring some details. Um, what else? Selections, elliptical selections or rectangular selections, or even shapes before didn't have a way to lock a perfect ratio between them. So now also, again, if you use Shift, you're going to be able to create shapes that are perfectly circular, perfectly spherical, rectangular, etc. So in edit mode, you do have the AI object selection, and you have select subject, select background, select sky. Basically, the same AI selections that you have in develop mode are also available in edit mode. Okay. Okay, so yeah, we only have 3 minutes left. Maybe I'll try to answer some questions if it's possible. Um, is there a free upgrade window for those that recently got 2024? There's not a free upgrade window, but as I said in the beginning of the demo, right now we do have the pre-sale going, and in the pre-sale you can get 2025 by half the price if you upgrade from a previous version. Yeah, 365 subscribers will get it as soon as it's available. Ali asks if the constraint is also available in develop mode, and yes, it is. Um, so yeah, let me know in the chat which is the feature you're most excited about. I mean, I think it's obvious what's the most exciting for me. And it's a game changer because I know that there are other solutions out there, but they're pricey. Um, you know, um, and just comes with the software. And so that's great. Yeah, feathering in AI is also really good. Tab is really nice. Um, Before we go, maybe we can also, I was another user request is the ability to copy the path of any of these images. So if I click on a photo and right click, you will see that the new copy as path um, option is available. And if I click on that, and I'm just going to paste it in the chat, you won't be able to open it, obviously, but you will see that um, now it's a lot easier to just copy the path of any photo and paste it anywhere you want. Yeah, you can process raw images with super resolution. Um, and one last, it's noon, but one more improvement since we're just super excited. I'm super excited about all of this is that now in people mode, there is the ability to um, auto advance. So if you type someone's name before, you had to select the following person, and it's an extra click that you don't want. So just by doing this, auto advanced is a really good way to just improve the workflow when you're dealing with people mode. And also what we've done in 2025 is the ability to, if you're we've added so when you go to manage mode and your view, you select details. Before, you were not able to see in the metadata information either an AI keyword or the name of a person. So now you can right click here, choose details, and you can add um, the AI keywords and people metadata information to your metadata picker. So now you will see displayed in your metadata information any name that you've added to a photo. Yes, AVIF is supported now in ACDSee 2025. It's crazy how that format became super popular, but it is now available. Okay, guys, I think we ran out of time. Um, I think next time we're going to do a workshop specifically for super resolution to go into even more detail and maybe try some batch exporting options. And yeah, stay tuned. We're again, if you want to take advantage of the pre-sale, go for it, especially if you're upgrading. And thank you for joining, and I'll see you on a future workshop. So I hope you have a nice rest of your day, and I'll see you soon.